Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Tia. Welcome to my home in Pasadena. Come on in.
This summer, spend the hottest months of the year in style with Homeworthy as we visit the most extraordinary homes around the world. From the sun-soaked shores of the Hamptons to the classic beachfronts of Nantucket to the vibrant courtyards of Morocco, be sure to subscribe to Homeworthy's summer series to make every day feel like a vacation. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, my name is Tia. I'm a content creator and I live in Pasadena, California. Welcome to my home. Well, I had just recently gotten divorced and I decided that I needed a change. My daughter at the time had gotten married and was expecting my first granddaughter, and she moved to Pasadena. So of course I decided to come to Pasadena. So I walked into this home. It was it's from 1929. It was built as a Tudor, but it sort of didn't kind of know what it was. It was a little confused because I saw Cottage. I saw a lot of different things, but I saw Cottage because Tudors are a little darker. And so I walked through the home and I looked at it, and a lot of the things were missing. A lot of the old, beautiful vintage things that were here probably once someone had taken away. It had a pretty bad 90s remodel, the kitchen and that. And I walked through it, and at the time I had a friend with me, and the friend was like, okay, let's just get out of here. It's dark, it's not for you. And I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to keep walking through it. Something was drawing me here to keep walking through it. And I realized at the time that, for me, it was a mess. It was a full mess. And I was sort of a mess. I sort of needed to be remodeled again with a new life after being married for, more than half my life. And I felt like this house needed a fresh start. And so I think on an emotional level, we connected. And I walked through it, and I said, I went on the front porch and I told the realtor, okay, I'll take it. And she said, are you sure? Realtors don't usually talk you out of it. She's like, are you sure? It's gonna need a lot of work. It needs a new roof. It needs a lot of stuff. And I don't know, there's just something that drew me to this home that I felt like we could sort of help each other kind of get through those hard spots and kind of reinvent ourselves. So I bought the home, and it's set in here, and I'm a retired interior designer. I don't do it any longer. I do it for myself and for family and friends. So I sat, and at the time I was just emotionally bankrupt, and I was like, what am I going to do with this space? I sort of had a block. And I was watching a show one night, and there were these two ladies that I watched on TV, and they were funny, and I said, you know what, I'm going to call one of them. I need a break. I want someone else to come in here and sort of with fresh eyes and sort of tell me what they think, because this house was very confused. So that's how I met Amy and Kate, Amy Newsinger and Kate Martindale, and they were just amazing ladies, amazing designers. And stylists, and Amy's an amazing photographer. I sort of sat back and just said, do what you need to do, which is not characteristic of me. I always have my hands in everything. And I came in and they said, what would you like? And I said, maybe like a little pied-à-terre. At the time I was feeling very Parisian, very, divorced Parisian lady. I wanted to kind of have an apartment in Paris, but my daughter getting pregnant and having my grandbaby kind of deterred that. So I kind of wanted to feel that way anyway. So we sort of set out a little bit, and maybe 3 or 4 months later, I came in. They had molding in the dining room, molding in the living room. That took about 4 or 5 months. I loved it. I decided, okay, I'm ready to tackle the rest of the house. I ripped the roof off. We had just done the dining room, and I decided, hey, I need to come in there and rip the roof off. Rip the roof off the dining room, rip the roof off the kitchen, because I felt like, those spaces, this is a very small home. And one of the things when you have a small home, you need to decide which areas, you do your living in. And I decided for me, the dining room and the kitchen were areas where my family could get together for different holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, those kind of things. And the smaller interior rooms, like the bedrooms and everything, were okay to be tiny because you don't get much room in these little old 1929 cottages. I mean, this place is almost 100 years old. So I set out. Took me about 2 years to renovate, off and on. And I'm super happy. I mean, I come home and I feel like now I'm probably about 4 years out from my divorce, and she's about 2 years out from her renovation. And I kind of feel like we met in the middle now. And what I suspected when I walked through in the beginning of how we sort of needed each other and, we were going to kind of get through it together, it's happened. And this is my safe space. This is a space where my things live, the things that make me happy. This is a space where my granddaughter comes to play and eat and chase my dogs. This is a place where my dogs are happy and they feel loved. And so I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky to be here. So this is the living room. This is a space that when I purchased the home initially, this is the thing that stood out. I called it my pizza oven. Although I still kept the same shape, it was horrific. And I spent a lot of nights thinking about what was going to happen here. But we sort of just redid it. We put a nice wood mantle on it. I had ordered a mantle from Paris, this beautiful mantle, and it didn't come in. I waited and waited and waited, and it didn't come in. And it was a point in which I needed to just move into my home. And so we decided, okay, well, I'm going to use that mantle when it comes in. I just don't know where. So we just sort of put a wood base on here. We put some fluted columns. We added this. This is the same marble you'll see throughout the kitchen. We had a leatherette finished, which is really nice. These are things that mean something to me. Like this mirror is a vintage mirror that I love. You very much can't see yourself in it. It's more of an art piece, but I just sort of love it, and it's come with me wherever I've been. She is obviously a reproduction, but I love her. I love the vintage way the paint's peeling. And even though she's not originally this dark, I think she's originally in bronze. I just love the paint. I love that someone painted her. And I bought this from a little vintage shop in Pasadena, but I love her. I collect vintage books. I love them. A lot of the times I can't read them. I don't know what they say, but I just look at the patina on that leather. I mean, it's pretty outstanding and amazing. This vase, I have a lot of these around the house as well. This is from Olive Atelier, a wonderful place in LA that a lot of people love to go to. And this area here, my bookshelf area, this was sort of just a big wall, and it had an old firebox because this house is from 1929. So, they had a lot of things like that in it. It was just a big hole, a big wall with a firebox. And I have a lot of books and I have a lot of stuff. Like I told you, I'm a minimalist maximalist. I'm a girl who collects things. And these things just mean so much to me. I mean, like these opera glasses. I mean, come on. I mean, if I never go to the opera and use them, look at the pearl inlaid handle. I mean, just beautiful. So that's something that I love. This is an old French cigarette lighter. I mean, it doesn't work any longer, but I mean, it's beautiful. Old match strike container, old matches, again, old books that I collect. A lot of old books here, a lot of my design books. It's just a space where I can put things that I love. And I love him. He makes me happy. He's been in 5 or 6 different homes of mine, and he just sort of makes me very happy. And I collect a lot of prints. In this house, I felt like I had a lot of my big art from my other house here, and I felt like it was heavy. Because the walls, this is from 1929, it's a 1929 home, and the ceilings aren't that high. So in this kind of a home, big art, big paintings, they felt a little heavy. So I went into the Mary Poppins shed and storage bin, and I bought out a lot of my prints. And I feel like, I have a mixture here, but I feel like my prints work better in this house. It keeps it light. It keeps me able to breathe. So I have a lot of prints in this house, and also with some vintage art as well. I love it, but I have a lot of prints. These Kate and Amy found for me beautiful, beautiful wall lights. They have a vintage feel, and they're probably about 20 or 30 years old. So not vintage, vintage, which a lot of people will say that really is vintage, vintage, but you know, they're beautiful and I love them. And I sort of rotate my art. I have a lot of different art, like I said, in my storage bins. And some mornings I wake up and I miss a piece that I might have had in my other home. And so I rotate. So he's new. He's only been up here for maybe 2 months. I had something else up here before. But yeah, I love it. Makes me happy. But I bought this beautiful European sofa. It's the beige fringe. I mean, the boucle. I mean, it's everything that I love. Super comfortable. These are Scalamandre pillows that I love, 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 love. And I paired them with a beautiful vintage pillow that I found on Facebook Marketplace. Like, I can't even tell you the deal that I got off that pillow. Because if you look at the tapestry sewn into it, this is a piece it's just beautiful, absolutely stunning. So that's one of my favorite pieces, and she kind of makes a little rotation around. This piece right here, I wish I can remember the artist, and I can't, because my friend Amy Newsinger, who's like an amazing photographer, she gifted me this. A friend of hers, who's a photographer, created this beautiful portrait, and it's kind of hard to see. A lot of people don't see it at first, but it's actually a woman. It's actually a beautiful figure of a woman, and it's probably one of my favorite things. And you'll hear me say that a lot because I have a lot of favorite things, but it's probably one of my favorite things in my house. And with the sunlight coming in, sometimes you can't really figure out what you're looking at, but my God, at night, she's just stunning. I love her. So that was a gift from Amy, and I love that. I'll have that forever. This is a little French lamp that I bought when I was in Paris. Super cute. I love the knitting, the pink knitting fabric on the shade. It's just gorgeous. I've had that for a while now, and it comes out and finds its way around my house, but I absolutely love it. This table here is from the 80s. And this is the 80s modern that I was telling you that I love. I love 80s modern, but I love 80s modern with the flair that actually can come into, this table could have been made 2 years ago, but I love the lucite. I love mixing different metals and fabrics and finishes, because I feel like it gives the home, it lets it breathe a little bit. It's not so contrived, because you don't always like the same metal. You might like something in bronze, you might like something in silver, and I just love mixed metal. So that's one of my favorite pieces as well. I love this little table right here. My granddaughter loves coming too. This right here is this little French cigarette lighter, and I'm crazy about it. It's just amazing. It just makes me happy. I mean, I don't smoke, but if I did, I'd light it every day, and I'd sit and have a cigarette like a French woman and use it. But it's really pretty. It's marble. It's super pretty. Because it's the little things like that that make a house a home to me. This is very special. I have 3 of these. In my home, I couldn't fit all 3 of them, so a couple of them live at my daughter's right now. But this is an artist in Miami. His name was Purvis Young. And he was a found object artist, and he was a homeless man for a while. And this particular oil, it talks about the Hurricane Katrina back in the day in Miami, where a lot of people died, and he kind of depicts a scene there where you see angels flying, and I mean, it's just stunning. And like I said, I have a couple of his works, and the reason why this is so special is because the story behind it is that Purvis had cataracts for a long time. So he would do a lot of paintings on things like cardboards that he would find on the streets, and anything that he found, he painted. He has collectors like, major collectors who love that kind of art. Well, this particular one, he did, I think, 10 of these oils. And he did this after they did his cataract surgery. So this is something that he had never worked in oil. He just worked in painting boxes and cardboard things that he found on the ground. So this is one of 10. And the story is that a friend of mine and my ex-husband's called us up and said, listen, I'm going to Purvis's studio. And he was a doctor friend who had worked on Purvis's eyes. He said, I'm going to his studio to pick out some art, if you guys would like to come. So we tagged along, and at the time I was singing. I was a jazz singer at that time. And I was singing in Miami Beach. And so I was sort of kind of humming a little song. They were walking around looking at the art. My ex-husband and our friends were walking around looking at the art. Purvis was sitting in the room. I found my way over to him, and he said, "I heard you humming over there." And I was like, "Yeah." And I explained to him I thought his work was beautiful, and he said, "I want to show you something." And he showed me these. And I thought, like, I lost it. And I was like, oh my God, they're so beautiful. And his manager at the time said those weren't for sale. Like I said, he had just done these because he had his cataract surgery so he could see better. And he had just done, I think, maybe 10 of these. And so he said it wasn't for sale. Well, you know, I respected that. But Purvis said that he wanted me to have them. He's like, you know, she's an artist and she's a creative, and I know she'll take really good care of them. And so he gifted them to me, 3 of them. And so they've been with me for maybe 24 years. I've had them. And so, like I said, I have 1 now. My daughter has 2, but that means the world to me. It'll be with me forever. This is a vintage mirror from the 1800s. I love it. It's beautiful. I mean, the patina on it is bar none. I paired it along with a demi table, and this is also a vintage piece. I sort of like mixing vintage with modern. I know a lot of people do that and say that, and for good reason, because if you don't, you'll get, I mean, this could appear to be staunchy. If you just had this and a bunch of other pieces, which are fine. A lot of people like that. But for me, I feel like having this beautiful mirror from the 1800s, I mean, like, who looked in this mirror? You know, I often, when I look in the mirror, I think, who looked in this mirror before they left their home? Or where was this mirror? Or, you know, maybe it was in a castle, maybe it was in a home down one of these old homes in Pasadena. I don't know, but I love it. This right here is a vintage umbrella stand that I absolutely love. Vintage umbrellas made of fabric, not nylon like the new ones. And so it's a piece that I love. I mean, we don't get a lot of rain here in California, but when we do, I'm ready. This is modern. This is a new piece that I bought. And I liked it because it reminds me of my granddaughter's hair. And every time she comes over, she needs a place to put her shoes, to put her little shoes on, because we're a no-shoe home. So she always needs a place. So I got her this little thing, and she just thinks it's magical, and it moves a lot, and so I like it a lot. I forgot to tell you, these rugs are vintage. This rug here, love it. A lot of people think that you can't have vintage rugs when you have dogs. Well, you know, these guys, these are my road dogs. I live with them. They're my roommates, and they're allowed to go. I'm not a house where my dogs can't, you know, as you can see, go on my furniture. I do have beds in every room for them, but, you know, some of these little girls, they just like to sort of go. I actually made this little window seat for them because I thought it would be nice, and it's right by the air, and I thought they'd love it. And I put a vintage Suzanne on it, and I just love it, and they never go on it. She goes here. She goes here. And also, you see right here, in this little nook, like I said, this was going to be for my dogs and my granddaughter, but neither one of them. My granddaughter sits on it sometimes. But this little painting here is a vintage painting, and I literally started the colors of this room based on this painting. And I think I might have bought this painting for $10 somewhere, but I loved it. I thought it's everything that I am. I love the music. I love the musicality. I love the colors. I love the books in it. I love the, you know, they did do a little bit of limes, and I just love it. So this here is a beautiful little portrait that I found, I don't know, maybe on Etsy, I'm not sure. But the reason why it means so much to me in the realm of things is because she reminds me of, like, me, like as a little girl, like me, my sister. I have 5 sisters. And she just reminds me of me, my sisters, all the little black and brown girls that I knew growing up. You know, we had our little hair like that, and we had our little church dresses, and I don't know, she makes me happy, so I have her. I don't really have one design style. I feel like, just like, you know, when you dress, you know, some days you want to wear jeans, some days you want to wear, you know, boho, some days you want to be tailored and classic. And I feel like for me, I've gone through like 5 or 10 different incarnations of what I like. And I have sort of kind of a Mary Poppins storage bin, sheds, and I have a lot of stuff. because I came from a very big home at one point. So, and obviously this is a small home. So my style has evolved, and my style is sort of wherever I am and whatever I'm feeling emotionally attached to, that's my style. I mean, I love traditional. I'm a vintage girl, so you'll see a lot of vintage items in my home. I love the history of vintage pieces and the sustainability of them. I love a little edge of modern, but I like more of a 70s, 80s modern, not the black leather 80s modern, but sort of I like fine lines. I am a minimalist, maximalist at heart. I know it's kind of a contradiction, but for me, I go through moments where I need all my stuff. I need all of my stuff around me, and I'll go to my storage bin and I'll bring all my little knickknacks and things I might have found when I was on vacation and things that my mom might have given me, and I put all my stuff around me. And then I might live that way for a while, and then I wake up one day and all of a sudden I'm a minimalist, and I just can't take the clutter, and it becomes clutter for me. So at any given moment, any given time of year, any day, I can change. So my style really depends on where I am. And you'll see that displayed in my home. I sort of have a little bit, I'm an eclectic girl at heart, so. And so now we're in a dining room. And this room for me is a perfect square. It was and I love a perfect square. The dining room that's a perfect square, it wins in my book every time. But this room, when I bought the home, was closed off. Like it was closed off to the kitchen. So it was more wall and I think one little door that opened up, an old vintage door. I think it was a pocket door, and then you go into this kitchen. So I started with this square. And like I said, when I came in and Amy and Kate had already put the moldings up, like they asked me if I like moldings. I said, yeah, and they put moldings up for me, and I literally went in my head. I knew exactly where this house needed to be and needed to go after that. So we put moldings up. There were no moldings here. There was a built-in here, an old built-in, corner built-in that was really in bad shape, so I got rid of it. This piece right here, I bought off Facebook Marketplace. It's an old Baker cabinet, but it was reimagined, and I think that she did an amazing job, so I sort of love it. It keeps all my little treasures, all my favorite dishes. These dishes are amazing, and I love them so much, and they're from Sheila Bridges, and it's their Harlem Twill design, and again, it reminds me of my mom, me, growing up, and I have her whole collection, and I love, 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 love it. These make me swoon. I'm not a big drinker, but when I do drink my champs, I do drink them in these because they make me swoon. I have a lot of brass candlesticks around the house. I collect them. This is really cute because you can put this on there and put a flower in. And also you can take it off and put the thing, but it's all of vintage brass. I have a lot of vintage brass around the house. So this makes me happy. I like this little piece here. This table, vintage, old, from the 1800s, love it. Not perfect, damaged. It sort of sloops and slopes down here. I was going to get it fixed, but it's very sturdy, and I decided, you know what? The beauty in this is the brokenness, and it just makes me happy. So I kept it the way it is. You can't really damage it. I love the old oak color. The patina is amazing. I paired it with these modern, well, not real modern, but because they're probably from the 80s, 70s, 80s. These are Eames chairs, dining chairs. And I love the difference between the old and the new, per se. I love, love, love this piece here. This is a photograph that Amy gifted me, and she took it when she was in Paris. And again, Paris is my favorite city, so this means a lot to me. And I love the frame, and it takes me there. So I love it. This here is my makeshift bar, and a lot of my friends and family, they come over and they drink and they love it. And again, this is a beautiful, beautiful design by Sheila Bridges. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I also like to pair that with a lot of vintage. I have some vintage shakers. I actually have a whole collection of them, and they didn't make the cut because it's a small house, but I have a lot of vintage shakers that I love. Can't beat this. But yeah, so this is my makeshift bar. These are probably the most, I want to say expensive things in my home. There are these old chairs from the 1800s. Of course, they're recovered in this beautiful, beautiful velvet. Look at that. Look at the detail of that. In love. But I love these. And of course, there's only two. But I love them. And guess what? My dogs come and lay on them sometimes, and I can't really get mad at them. They just know quality. This mirror I got off Facebook Marketplace. The lady was moving back to Europe, and I mean, look at the pearl inlay. Like, really? I love it. It's one of my new favorite pieces. I absolutely love it. Those are vintage art lights that I love so much. And basically it. This is a small dining room space. Oh, and one other thing. When I redid this dining room, those windows were in the attic. Those two windows were in the attic. And these are original beams from the attic, and I opened it up. I forgot to tell you about this light. This is a little cutie. This is a Murano vintage light. And I put a little lace dolly around the top because I thought it was great. And I added one of those little pretty bulbs. But this is a Murano vintage glass light. I love it. But that wallpaper is also from 1925. I found like 3 rolls of it. And if you look closely, it has like dogs running around, which again, I love dogs, cherubs, and I just find it fascinating. And it definitely is a wallpaper that no one else will have. I think I have maybe 1 roll left, but it's stunning, and I love it. And it's what makes my dining room happy. And so these doors I found on Facebook Marketplace. I think they were side lights to a bigger door, but I fell in love with them. And so I bought a couple of them because I just had an idea where I just wanted a little bit of design. I didn't want to close it off because obviously I just spent a lot of money opening it up. But I wanted something of this era of the house, 1929, and these doors are around that era. So I had my wood guy add some, they were sort of up to here. And I had my wood guy add a piece of wood on the bottom. I put a little molding on it, and I just painted them. And I tell you, I love them. They make me feel like I'm in church. I love them. For me, the best compliment that someone can give me when they walk into my home is that they feel welcomed, and sort of they can feel the love, they can feel the intention. I do decorate with intention. I do everything around me sort of means something to me, or else it doesn't make the edit, because I live in a small space. And when you live in a small space, you sort of have to consistently edit and have things around you that just really mean something to you, because you don't really have the room to do other. But when someone comes to my house, like my granddaughter comes here, and she loves coming to see me, and she gets to run around, she gets to be at home, and that's what I want. I want when someone comes to my home to feel like it's their home, and that they can do, say, be whatever they are in their home, they can do it in my home. My favorite space in the house is I would normally say my bedroom, because that's where I spend a lot of my time, and it's just my cozy little space where I can sort of just kind of be Tia and look the way I want to look, be what I want to be, watch what I want to watch, But honestly, my favorite space, I would have to say now, since my renovation, is my kitchen. It's a very intentional space. I left a lot of space there, so again, when my grandbabies are here, they can run around. During holidays, you can fit probably 10, 15 people in there, cooking and roaming around. And so I would say the kitchen is the space that makes me feel whole. So this is the kitchen. Now this is probably the space in my house that's gotten the biggest bang. This and the dining room. As you can see, I still have some of the old attic beams going across. This whole area up here was attic. The kitchen was half the size. It went up to maybe here. And then there was a small door that went out to the side. And there was a rickety old bathroom behind it. And when I walked in here, I decided, again, this is a small home. So what I wanted to happen is I wanted to be able to have the kitchen and the dining room as spaces that felt big, and that you can have a lot of people. Sometimes what I do with this is I move this butcher block. This is a vintage butcher block that I absolutely, to die, love it. I move it down here, and then I have a table here that acts as another, as another island, but also it has seating around it. So my granddaughter can come and sit, and she loves it. So today it's a little more open, but in this kitchen you can actually put a huge table, many chairs. I do it for the holidays, and I usually wrap vines and twines and lights around the beams, and it just sort of kind of becomes a winter wonderland in here. So this is sort of my favorite space. These I bought vintage at a Pasadena antique mart. It's really hard to find 3 of anything vintage. You're lucky if you find 2, but I found 3. And I thought because this kitchen is so long that it needed 3. And I held out until I found 3 of what I liked. But I found 3 of them, and I'm so happy. I love them so much. They're kind of a pain to clean, but hey, beauty's pain. So I love those. Again, this is an Ilve stove. I decided that I wanted to have a pop of color in here. And I love this stove. It's very European, very French. I couldn't afford the La Cunu, so I got the Ilve stove, but I'm super happy with it. Love it. These change. I have a lot of vintage tile. And I change my tile behind my backsplash like people change, whatever, but I change them. This is the incarnation. I think I've had these up for 6 months. I don't ever lay them. I have behind just so they can stick. And I live with them because I like different looks back here. And I do have the marble behind it. So sometimes I just take it off and I leave the marble behind it, but I absolutely love it. This hood, you have to look at it. It took like 3 different incarnations of this hood in order for us to get it right. He did it a little square before, and I just wanted it very sculptural and architectural, and we finally got the right shape on it, and then it was just white plaster. And I just decided one day, I called him up and I said, do you think we can faux this to look like this marble? But I didn't want a big marble hood up here. It's not cost effective. It'd be like $1 gazillion. But I felt like we could get that look without it. He did an amazing job. If you look at this marble here, the way this line comes up and goes there, in the veining, it actually looks like it's this marble, but it's not. This hood is plaster faux. So he did a great job on that. This is marble. It's leatherette finished. I love the leatherette finish. It's sort of like a hone, but it gives you a little more texture, a little more shine, but not polished. Because I felt like this kitchen had so much light that if I did a polished, there would be light flickering off everything. Didn't want that. But I love it. I love it. This is also on my fireplace, if you notice, in my kitchen. Love this pot rack. I use them. I actually use them because I love to cook. These mirrors make me happy. Those are vintage. This right here, I bought from Olive Atelier, like I told you. And it has some of my special pieces in there that I love so much. Look at these. Come on. Beautiful. These are the beautiful things I'm telling you about that sort of make a house a home. I love those. They make me happy. And little coupes. Champagne coupes. Cute. Don't do that anymore. But yeah, and these dishes I love too. These are some of my favorite everyday dishes. I love them. Just simple. But yeah, this little cabinet helps me out a lot because I sort of put a lot of my things in there. These are vintage cutting boards that I collect. Now, I probably have about 20 of them, but obviously I can't fit 20 here. And I use them a lot, especially when I lay my big table out and we dice up everything and put it on. I use them a lot. And they're great for when you want to cut things, when you don't want to cut things on your marble. A lot of people are kind of afraid of marble. But for me, if you go to Italy, people walk on marble. It's like hundreds and hundreds of years old. So, I'm not afraid. This here is soapstone. Love it. It's going to age beautifully. It takes on a patina that's bar none. And I didn't want to do the whole kitchen in soapstone, so I sort of added the white Carrara, but love it. This is unlacquered brass set from Duval Kitchens in London. I couldn't have that stove that I wanted, so I just got this. And look at the patina. I mean, it's gonna patina. All of these are unlacquered brass. And a lot of people ask me, where's your refrigerator in this kitchen, Tia? Your refrigerator's not here, Tia. Well, I decided that I'm not a conventional girl. I'm a very unconventional girl. And what I decided was that I love refrigerator drawers. So I have 4 Sub-Zero freezer refrigerator doors, and per cubic feet, we did the math, you get more room in these drawers than you do in an upright refrigerator, or depending on the size, obviously. But I love them. I mean, they're just great. Pull them out, get what I need. And they're actually hidden, so you don't see a refrigerator at all in this kitchen, but they're here. They're just there. These are great cabinets that I had made. What I did with these cabinets, it's kind of a mess in here, but well, also I put wallpaper in here, which is a design thing that I love. But what I did with these cabinets is I put all of these cabinets are all of my things with plugs. So my blender never has to come out, my toaster, my hand mixer, I have an air fryer in here, microwave in here. But what's so great is I took the soapstone all the way back. So when you close the cabinet, you still see the bib of it is soapstone. And I just love it. It makes me happy. And the piece de resistance of my kitchen, besides the skylights, which was a game changer. I mean, I added those probably a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, now, and I love them. They're a game changer. This floor, I had to do a lot of sleepless nights on, I just wanted vintage marble. There's a lot of marble out there. There's a lot of people that use like sticky things. There's a lot of people who paint this thing, and all of those are great, and they look great. And I've done some iterations of those over the years, but I really just wanted old vintage marble. So this is what I spend a lot of my money on in my kitchen, because I just feel like the floors are everything. They make me extremely happy when I come in here in the morning. I mean, you can even see the light from the skylight. I get the glow all over the kitchen around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just crazy. The light just dances around. And there's just something about vintage floors that have been walked on forever that just make a space feel really special. And I love them. They're some of my favorite things in this kitchen. A lot of my vintage art. This is a great vintage art that I got. I have it next to modern art because I think that's a good pairing. These are from 1920s, and I love them. With the crystal glass in here. Love them, love them, love them. These are steel doors that I had made. And it was a cost that I didn't think I needed to incur. But once I did it, I realized, I mean, they're gorgeous. They're heavy. They give prominence to a space and providence to a space, and I just love them, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. And one more thing, I just want to say one more thing about the kitchen. These, a lot of people when they do a kitchen and they spend a lot of money on, getting your marble just right and cut just right and everything, but then they leave the white plugs in the. I just think that and they're not that expensive. I think it's a little idea to change those because they really do make a difference. This is the garden, and this is an area that when I bought the house was just nothing. It was concrete, all concrete. I just knew that for me, I wanted to have a little space, a little sacred space that I can sit and have a glass of wine with friends, relax. And so, I actually love gardening. And I've been doing I do a lot of my own gardening. Sometimes if it's, if I have heavy trees or plants, I'll have someone help put it in. But I basically planted a lot of these plants myself, and it means a lot to me. This dining table is an old vintage restoration hardware. You can't really get this anymore, and I got it. And I got it off, wait a minute, Facebook Marketplace, and it's just amazing. I mean, every summer, all you have to do is refinish it and put a seal on it, and it seats everybody. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful garden set. Yeah, it's fantastic. This little area I sort of kind of made into a wonderful little seating area with a fire pit, the fountain, and I sort of just put some fun things up, some little old vintagey things. This here is really special. It's a little swing for my granddaughter that I keep, and she gets to swing on it when she's here, and she absolutely loves it. We sit and have cocktails and she swings, and it's fantastic. This was the garage. of this house, and in these old houses, they tend to have the garage in the back of the house all the way up a long drive. And you're not going to drive up a long drive to go home anymore because, you know, you drive in the front. So I sort of made this into a gym, and I love it. It's a great space for me to work out. I like to work out and unwind, and it's a great space. This right here is my granddaughter's playhouse / my garden shed because she kind of outgrew it a little bit. So I kind of use it for a garden shed here now. This wall is usually around a month ago was filled with roses. It's just a whole wall of roses. Now we're at a time where we got a lot of green garden, which I still think is beautiful. A lot of people think that you need flowers to have a beautiful garden, but a lot of green garden is beautiful. It's just a different time of year. So I planted a lot of this garden just to sort of be able to look at it when I'm working out in the gym, when we're in the garden room. A lot of wildflowers. I have all kinds of fruit trees in this yard. I have an orange tree, which the oranges are amazing. I have a lemon tree. I have a peach tree there. Another place where we just sit and enjoy ourselves. And this little guy, he's usually my Christmas deer. But I just love him so much that I can't ever bring him inside. Christmas happens and he stays out there until next Christmas. My dogs like to bark at him, and you know, it's just sort of fun. So yeah, so this is a really special place. This is a little sacred garden in the middle of Pasadena. So this is the hall. I mean, it's probably the darkest space in the house, and it's a space that I almost didn't buy the house because for me, I'm used to a sight line. I like to walk into my home and I like to be able to see the garden. I like to be able to see my way out the other way. I think that's really important. So this is probably the first house I've ever had that I've had to create sight lines. I created the ones in the kitchen, which enabled me to be okay with this little hall, this little cozy hall. I put some Florence and the Machine prints up, love them. I kept it very simple here. This is a vintage runner that I'm crazy about. Imperfect as it is, it's beautiful and I love it. We put a lot of molding in this hall to give it character. I added a beautiful faceplate for the HVAC. I think that's important. This little lady right here, I had her in another home of mine, and you hardly really noticed her because the ceilings were so high and da-da-da. But here, I felt like this hall needed one little special hello. And I feel like she's it. You know, she welcomes you to the hall and it guides you down this little dark path. And I think it's great. Makes me happy. I've always been creative. I've always had some sort of creative outlet, be it, I used to be a jazz singer, and I call it my other life. I have like 4 or 5 different lives that I've lived creatively, but I used to be a jazz singer back in the day, and I loved that. Songwriter, loved that. And I started in interior design, my own little interior design company, and you know, it never got big, and I never did any major things. It was just more small and intimate, and friends and family and clients who were amazing. But yeah, I've always erred on the side of creativity. I just love beauty, and beauty for me comes in a lot of different forms, a lot of different creative outlets. There's, you know, painting and music and dance and all those things, and it's just the world I feel comfortable in. It's my world. For me, a home comes alive when there's intention, when there's purpose, when there's objects in the home that mean something to you, where you can sort of just look across and see, oh, I picked that shell up on the beach when we were in Hawaii, and you know, the kids had the flu, and you know, for me, a home is about just a presence to keep a safety net, sort of, where you can come into your home, and it's the one place where you feel safe and you feel protected. And you feel loved, and you know, the world is a little crazy, so to be able to come into your doors and know that this is a place that you feel safe and that all your beautiful things are around you and that your family lives here, and for me, wherever my dogs are, that's where my heart is, because they're my babies, so that's what home means to me. this is just a guest bath, and in a guest bath you can go a little crazy. These are vintage lights that I thought were really stunning. But this wallpaper here is what I want to point out. It's a French brand. The reason why it meant so much to me is because I have a little brown granddaughter now, and I wanted her to be able to see herself in all the times in the country, to be able to see herself. I mean, you know, we have we have the Pam Grier, we have the the Wild Wild West, and I just thought it was a really beautiful wallpaper to be able to show my little brown granddaughter that she is part of the American fabric and the American history. So that wallpaper means a lot to me. It's real special. So this room here is the bedroom. This is a master bedroom. It was very small, and it's on the darker side of the house, so it doesn't get a lot of sunlight. Maybe at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it'll get some, but it doesn't get a lot of sunlight. But for me, having a small little cocoon of a bedroom, I think it's wonderful. The ceilings are low. I love a canopy bed. I didn't care. So I got this canopy bed, and I thought, it makes me happy. I feel kind of like a princess, like a queen in it. This is a vintage light, love, crystals galore, finials on the top, just beautiful. I mean, you just can't buy those kind of things anymore. So she's beautiful. She's vintage, probably about 60 years old, and I love her. She makes me happy. This fireplace is the fireplace that I told you about in the living room that I had ordered from an antique shop in Paris. It didn't come in time to make it in the living room, but I was going to have it and I was going to look at it. So what I did was I put it in my bedroom, and it's not a real working fireplace. Obviously, it would have been on the real working fireplace. It's just the mantle, but I put a bunch of super beautiful candles in it with a little vintage fire screen. But if you look at the details of this old 200, I think it's 210 years old, to be honest with you, if I can remember from the shipping detail. But I mean, come on, it's beautiful. So I love it, and I get to look at it every night. I put a lot of my beautiful treasures, my grandbabies. I love the vintage art that I find. She just reminds me of a family member, so she made the wall. Another vintage, beautiful little vintage painting made the wall. I have books like you wouldn't believe, so they're in every room, everywhere. This is my Josephine Baker. Hello. She was a feather girl, and I just love feathers, and I used to wear a lot of feathers when I sang on stage. So this little moment here with this vintage little light, I mean, look at him. He's gorgeous. It just makes me happy. This vintage mirror I bought at an antique shop in New Jersey, I believe, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, the paintings on top is gorgeous. These chairs here are old vintage chairs with hide on them, and I'm not crazy about the hide because I'm a vegan, but I felt like it was already there, so it's not new hide, and so I sort of kept them. But these chairs are just to die for, the carvings, and this is a vintage chair. This wallpaper. Again, this room was a really small interior room, and I decided that because it didn't get a lot of light, I was going to kind of go with that. It's not a light room, it's a cozy dark room. So I got this wallpaper off Etsy, of all places, and it looks like a painted mural. I mean, just look at it, it's gorgeous. It makes you feel like you're in the middle of a forest. And it's beautiful. I get so many comments on this on my Instagram. Everybody just loves it, and it's beautiful. And this is a frame TV, beautiful old frame. A lot of people like to hide their TV. It's a frame TV. You have art. I like to watch TV. I love to watch design shows, and I don't hide my TV. I just make it beautiful, so you can do it. This right here is my dog bowl. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because it's moving water for the dogs. But besides that, I get a twofer. It's actually, it makes noise like a fountain at night. So I sleep like a baby because it's like I hear a fountain, but it really wasn't meant for that. So that's one of my finds that I brag about all the time on Instagram because I love that. It's amazing. I highly recommend it because moving water is good for dogs. This is an old little vanity that I love. All my favorite little things are here. Old vintage, wallets and things like that I love. Old candy boxes. This company, Louis Sherry, it's a candy company. But these boxes that the candy comes in, I mean, for you design aficionados, there's like 20 different boxes like these, and all of the boxes are gorgeous. I mean, I keep lots of little things in there, but just gorgeous. So the candy's amazing, the boxes are good. So yeah, so that's my vintage. This right here is a Hans Jacobsen Silk Light. I've wanted one forever, and it cost more than it should have, than I should have spent for it. But I mean, I love it. It's beautiful. It's something that's timeless, and again, it just reminds me of my days as a jazz singer. It gives me that feeling, the silk beat, the silk strings on it. I mean, it's just beautiful. So I absolutely love it. This is my baby's beds, and they fight, but they sleep together. They love each other. So these windows, you'll notice in all the windows in my house, I added gates outside my windows because in Parisian apartments, they sort of have those. And I thought that it would be nice to be able to look at something since we don't really have a view in this room. So I added these little gates to a lot of the bedroom windows. So they're really great. This here is we're going into the master bathroom now. This didn't exist. This was a little tiny hallway that went into, you'll see the family room, which is the sunroom. It was a sunroom, and now it's my family room. But this was just a little pass-through. And I decided, since I got rid of the old bathroom that was this big in the kitchen, I decided that, we needed another bathroom because you don't ever get rid of a bathroom unless you're going to add a bathroom. So we added this bathroom. Again, the marble. I decided I wanted to just kind of have a bang in this space. So I chose this marble floor, and I love it. It's great. It sort of, again, in Italy, they walk on marble. I want to walk on marble. This shower is huge. I actually was going to do half of this shower and then do the other half with my sauna. But at the last minute, I was like, you know what? Because if I ever moved, I'm taking my sauna with me. So then I would just have a hole. So I decided, you know what, I'll just do a bench. So you can use the bench for, shaving and that. But I love the shower. It's great. I had this glass door made. The glass maker said that, hey, you sure you want a curve? And I said, yeah, because I felt like to enclose this whole thing in glass would just be too much. So I got a curved glass door. And I don't run into it. People are like, do you run into that? I don't run into it. It's great. Again, you can see the grate on the windows that I chose. Love the bathtub. It's great. It's deep. I love taking baths, and it's a great bathtub. I got all European fixtures. If you notice, all of them are European, and I love them. I think they give an aesthetic to the bathroom that I really wanted. One of the things about a small space and a small home is storage. So every chance I get, I add storage. These, I mean, it's a mess in here, but these are all medicine cabinets with tons of storage inside. These are all storage drawers. They actually have built-in plumbing, electricity, so that you can blow dry your hair and do those kind of things. These are Murano sconces, and I love the color of them. Pink is my favorite color. And one more thing, I had this built in, and when you open it, right now I won't open it because it's a mess, but when you open it, it has, I can put all my daily clothes. It can fit a lot of clothes and a lot of drawer space and a lot of top storage, because again, storage for a small space like this is really important. And then I built a huge wardrobe upstairs in my attic. I mean, I have like walk-in closet. It's huge. This piece of art right here is called Audrey of Mulberry, and Tristan Eden is the artist, and he actually painted Audrey's portrait on the side of a restaurant in Brooklyn, in New York. I believe it's in Brooklyn, but it's beautiful. And the story goes that this print, which he signed, he had given to someone as a gift, and anybody who knows me knows that I love, love, love Audrey Hepburn. I mean, I think she is just phenomenal. not just a phenomenal actress, but a phenomenal human being with all her work she did for UNICEF. But I just love her. And I just love this because it's a modern take on Audrey Hepburn. So maybe the new generation can kind of get to know her. But it's one of my favorite pieces in the house. So I love it. So now we're stepping into the attic, and these are the closets that I told you about, and I wanted to show you. I had these closets built in because, as I mentioned before, in a small house you don't get a lot of closet space. So I sort of had these built in, and now I have more space than I can ever want. Plenty of shoe space, plenty of closet space. It's fantastic. So these are shoes that I love in my closet. I wear these often. I think they're just very sexy, and sometimes I just leave one there to look at it because it's like art. Hi, let's go back downstairs and I'll show you a few more spaces in my little cottage. Come on. So this was a sunroom when I purchased the home. It was just a white little sunroom that I didn't put on, the previous owners had it on. And I just loved it. It was always my favorite space because when I moved in here, honestly, the garden was just, it was not a garden. It was just concrete and little pebbles. And I knew that I love gardening, I love flowers. I knew that I could do something with the garden. So that's why I consider this room my garden room. It's where I come, where my granddaughter and I come, we watch TV, we play games. It's a really, really beautiful space. My dogs love it in here. They're super calm in here. They'll lay in here all day long and look at the butterflies outside. It's a very spiritual place for me in my home. And what I did was, when I came in here, it was just a wall. Again, behind that is my master bath. And I decided that I needed more storage because, again, you always need storage in a home. So I sort of added storage all throughout here. My dog bed's not usually here, but I have it here now. They have a bed in every room. But this is a washer and dryer. This is full storage. This is another freezer, refrigerator. Great space. I put a mini split in here. It's great in the summer. I do a lot of my correspondence here, write little notes, keep little things in my drawers. I added a mirror here. It's an odd place to add a mirror, but I thought it was great because the more light you can get reflected in this room, honestly, the better. So I love this little mirror here, a little chimoisie mirror, great. I also, over here, I have tons of books again, so I added some book shelving here so I can put some like little special pieces here, pictures and that, and fun things. I thought that was great. These I got off Amazon, the little wicker shades. I made these little tiny little holders. I thought they were super cute. I never put them down, to be honest, because this room is not meant to be a room that's private. It's just meant to be a garden room. So I have that. This is a vintage French leather chair. I love the little nail heads all over the design. I mean, it's just classic, beautiful. This piece here on the floor is a reeded leather and reed mat from the Sahara Desert. I mean, the artisans make these mats, and it's one of my prized possessions that I love so much. They usually don't come this big, so to have one this big is just amazing, and it's just beautiful. It lightens up the space. I sort of made those. They were chandeliers that I had from my other home, and they had a lot of, like diamonds and, not diamonds, crystals hanging from them. And I needed some chandelier, some lighting in here, so I just sort of put some, this is sort of the only fake greenery I have in my house, because obviously you can't put greenery up that high. Who's going to take care of it? But I sort of wrapped those around there, and I ordered some wicker shades, and I put it on there. And I think they're great. They make me happy when I'm in here, and they kind of follow suit. This piece right here, I bought from an antique shop. It's an old mantle, fireplace mantle. And what I was going to do was I was going to literally put a gas fireplace in this room. And after sort of talking to the contractor, and we decided that, you know what, it's probably not really worth it. They have inserts now that give you just as much heat and everything. It's great. So what I did was I just sort of put one of those inserts in there. And what's great about it is that it gets really hot in here in the winter if you want. I have it turned off now for my granddaughter, and also it's summer. But it gets very hot in here, and it just gives the aesthetic. It's really, this is where my Christmas tree goes in the thing, and I draped this with the Christmas decorations, and it's a beautiful, beautiful scene. Again, frame TV, and keep your art on it. Makes me happy. These little leather chairs are things I've had for years. I have a couple of them, and they just make me happy. The ceiling is really special because it was just a white ceiling. The whole room was white. And what I decided was that I kind of wanted to envelop the whole room because I had all these plantings planted. And I felt like the whole room needed to give you a hug and made you feel like you were in the garden as a true garden room. So I had wallpaper. This is one of my favorite patterns. It comes in a lot of different, I believe it's Scalamandre, I'm not sure. I'll link it if you guys want, but it's a beautiful pattern, and it makes me feel like I'm in the trees. I mean, when you sit down and you're looking up, it's between the color on the walls, and which is a beautiful Farrow and Ball color, and the wallpaper, it's just stunning. So yeah, and I tell people all the time, don't sleep on wallpaper in your ceiling. It really is another space in your home that you can actually wallpaper, paint. I mean, you don't have to have a white ceiling. Sometimes a white ceiling is what's called for, but more times than not, don't sleep on the ceiling because that's like your fifth wall, and it's a great space to make things happen on. So, home means to me safety, a place where I can come in and I can feel safe. It's my safe haven. I can be myself. I can enjoy my cherished memories with my loved ones. I can play my music really loud. I can dance in my bathrobe. It's just a place where my comfort, where comfort for me lives. It's also a place where my dogs are. And I'm a huge dog lover, and wherever my dogs are, that's home to me. So that's what home means to me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.